Good afternoon and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I'm your host, Michelle Dawes-Burt, and as always, I'm super excited to be here. I just wanted to shout out real quickly, today's show is powered by the Reclamation Project. We're going to talk about that at the end of the show. For who she is, that is what we're going to talk about at the end of the show. Thank you so much, Reclamation Project, for everything that you're doing in the community. Thanks to all the new listeners, right? First and foremost, we want to thank everybody that listens to us every Sunday from 2 p.m. We got an extra hour, right? So a lot of people are feeling refreshed today because they're like, oh my gosh, that extra hour is just what I needed. We're here every first and third Sunday at 2 p.m. and the brand is all about creatively collaborating, connecting to raise awareness regarding issues that impact women. And we do it by way of community service, public speaking, mentoring, and workshops, and the arts. And we've been doing this arts piece, which is the media piece, for a couple of years now. It's very informative. I've been very excited about it because it allows us to talk about the issues. We bring in the people that we feel can help us, right? Give us the tools that we need so that we can be empowered to move forward. It is a beautiful day here in Atlanta. Sunny skies. We couldn't ask for a more prettier day. A lot of buzz because the Braves won the World Series. So schools were actually closed, right? I told some friends up in New York that schools were closed. They were like, what? They never do it for the Yankees or when the Mets win. Yeah, they actually closed the school systems here in Atlanta to allow people to take the day off and be a part of the parade. So I know people are still kind of celebrating since Friday in regards to the World Series. So congratulations to the Atlanta Braves for bringing that championship home, right? So we're so happy for you in doing that. But today, I'm excited. Why are you excited, Michelle? You're always excited. Yeah, I'm excited because I get to talk to somebody I like. I admire. He's smiling. Yes, I like and admire so much. And he knows. He says, Michelle, stop talking that way. You don't need to say those things. But it's true. I believe giving people their flowers now is very important. Today's topic is how to build financial wealth. With my guest today, Kevin Davis Sr. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Michelle.
How are you, Kevin?
I'm good.
Yeah, you looking good. You look at today. Look, I wore it today.
I'm saying we got that brand show.
Yes. I'm here to support the brand 106%. But before we get there, Kevin, tell the people where you from. Where you from, my friend?
Born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, and back and forth to Brooklyn. You know how New York is. You move 50 different times.
Yeah, well, some people do, because my people are in the Bronx, and they still ain't moved. They haven't even moved across the street. They're not moving. But I do notice that Queens and Brooklyn people tend to go back and forth and that type of thing. You're claiming two boroughs, Kevin. You're claiming two boroughs.
That's all right. I was born in Brooklyn, though.
Yeah, that's what it is? You're claiming Brooklyn all day?
I'm claiming New York because, I'm out of New York now, so that's what I got to do.
That's what you got to do. As a kid, tell me, what was the neighborhood like for you growing up in New York, in Brooklyn and Queens?
Well, gangs on corners. Don't stand on the corner, your mother would say. It was pretty tough. Yeah. You can't sugarcoat that.
Yeah.
It was pretty tough. Mm-hmm. My mom's a single parent. She had me when I was 17, so I was raised primarily by my grandmother. Mm-hmm. We lived on Hancock Street in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. Where's your family from? From the Caribbean, the islands, anything like that?
My grandfather was Trinidadian. My grandmother was Venezuelan. So you can put that together.
Yeah, that's a nice mix. That's spicy and saucy. So you're
all
eating
day. All day. I can have no bland food. None. Zero.
You're eating good every day. Are you a good cook? Did that translate?
Listen, I taught my wife how to cook. She'll talk crap, but yeah, I taught her how to cook. That's how that works. I had to eat.
You had to.
So I had to learn how to cook.
You had to learn how to cook. So grocery shopping, setting it up, Kevin. For most people that don't know, us kids in New York at that time, years ago, we were going to the store, buying groceries, coming home, right, cooking it up. Like, you're very independent at that age, correct?
Correct. Absolutely. I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this music. How did we get involved with music? Or tell me a little bit of the music you were listening to as a kid, and then talk about how that translates into a career.
Okay. So how did I get into music? You know, hip hop started. I lived when I moved to Queens, I lived in Springfield Gardens, right?
Yes.
And I lived right next door to a park, right? So they'd have park jams. And this is before rap started because, you know, they'd be playing breaks like Tina Marie, Square Biz, and Good Times and stuff like that. So, you know, it was about that whole part. Then you'd see the MCing coming out. So then they would have, my junior high school was 231. So they would like plug up to the lamppost and put up the, what they call ass kickers, the speakers. And I'd go there every single week and rhyme. Every single week. And it was at a time where I was about to go to college. And this is just before I got kicked out the crib. So I was in my second year of college and I got kicked out of the crib. And I was just like, okay, what am I going to do? My boy, you know, Neil was like, yo, you should make a record. I laughed. I was like, come on, man, get out of here, feed it. Right? So the funny part is I had nothing else to do. I'm ignorant. I don't know what the heck's going on. So I said, you know what, let me try. About, this is 86, 87. I just went on a war path. Just, you know, I'm a real focused person. I just don't stop. I'm relentless. And I wanted to get in a record deal with Warner Brothers Records in 89. Now let me set it up. So I was straight hip hop, straight hip hop, right? So, you know, when I was in the park, Redman, Bismarck, you know, Ed Lover was funny because he had this record called My Loafers, mimicking my Adidas. Hilarious. But anyway, Mikey D, everybody would come to the park and rap. So, you know, that was my thing. So my cousin, you know, took me to this club called The Garage in the city, right? And it had all these beautiful women in there. And I was like, wait a minute, I ain't never seen nothing like this. So I'm going every Friday. We trying to go, right? And we're in the G. And I'm like, they're playing these records. And I'm like, first I was like, this is kind of whack, kind of weird. But then I started dancing. And then it caught me. I was done.
That's it.
So between the Garage and Union Square, right? With the razors in your mouth, it was a little bit different. So I go to Union Square all the time, even though I went there all the time. I'd go to the G because be amongst a bunch of kids, girls, I mean guys or girls. I choose the girls for 200 bills. So that's exactly what I did. So one day I'm walking through the G, they're playing a record, and I start rapping to it. And this later became Stomp, which was my hit single. Right? And so I started rapping, I got the first part of it, was like, So fast forward a little bit, I'm selling cars in New Jersey at Mitsubishi, at Bob Shizuli Mitsubishi on Route 46. This is funny stuff. So now I got a demo tape of me rapping over Lynn Collins' beat really fast, having a good time. And I gave it to what was my manager at the time, cousin. He took it to my manager. He heard it, called me into the studio, and he plugged in Stomp, which was the beat, and I wrote that in 5 minutes. So, 5 minutes. And it was hilarious. I never wrote anything down, so it was just all spit it out. And so I remember saying to them, because it was on an 8-track, it was like, I was like, I hope they play that on the radio. Man, they played that record 30 times a day on all the stations. It was a huge record, really huge record. I was found at Warner Brothers in 1989, September 19th, the record came out and life changed. I didn't work for like 5 years. It went
from 0 to 60 in 10 seconds. Right?
You know, so funny. I had an 87 Toyota Corolla. The door opened on the passenger side. Right? I am driving on, I don't know if it was Linden Boulevard or Guy Brew. I don't know what, I just coming from, I forgot what block it was. So there's a school bus to my left. I'm in the 1987 Toyota Corolla. You can barely see me. The students are going crazy. They played my video that day and somebody recognized me.
Wow.
Talk about somebody's skirt.
You selling cars and you didn't even get a new car for yourself. Like all this going on.
Okay, so when you hood, you don't know what's good, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. You know, and at that time, I wasn't connected to anything funny, money or materialism. I was in the middle. So to back it up a little bit, when everyone's wearing Kangos, rope chains, and shell-toe Adidas, you know, I couldn't afford rope chains, Kangos, and shell-toe Adidas. So I always had my own lane. You understand?
Yeah.
So I wasn't thinking about buying stuff. When a record came out, it was a huge hit. I'm making 90 grand a month plus. I didn't think of moving out of my studio apartment. I was still sleeping on a futon.
Wow. Wow.
You understand? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
This is always so funny when you get educated.
Yes, yes.
Like, I didn't know anything. I mean, to me, it was about women, partying, and hanging out with my boys.
That was it. That was it. I mean, that was a huge record because Tony Humphries remixed
He did a remix.
And he was big and still is. So, man, for you to just spit it out like, man.
Well, it was part of you. Like, that was just different. Like, back then, music was my life. It's like music is everything to me. Like, I listen to music, it takes me to a place. So, that's easy.
That was easy. You said in the lyrics, non-dancers don't crowd the floor. I'm like,
well, you got to realize.
Facts.
Okay, so this is back in New York when New York was on fire club-wise.
Yes.
So you had clubs like the Ritz, the Underground, Studio 54, Roseland.
Yeah.
All these parties were going on, and it was like, I was doing like 13 shows a week. It was just crazy. One place to the next place, one place to the next place. So it was all about dancing. It was not about standing around looking crazy or a bottle service.
Yeah.
It was all about partying and having a good time. So when you start to see I met Big Les in the Sound Factory.
Yeah.
We was just partying.
Yeah. Did you do Bentleys in Zanzibar too, Kevin, on your circuit?
That was my house. Zanzibar was my house.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't even, I was Tony Humphries.
Yeah.
He did the remix.
Yeah.
I did Zanzibar more than I did anything.
Anywhere
Bentley, I did Bentley and fell off the stage and got back up and still did my thing. But Bentley had this makeshift stage.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a good thing. But it didn't matter. We had fun in that club. We tore it down.
You tore it down. So Kevin, if we're making this kind of bread, we're living the life, we're having a good time, what led you to come out of the music industry? What happened?
It got to a point where it got old. What the deal was this. I realized back then that if you didn't have a clique of people where you had your own music stable, right, you weren't going to be able to get records, right? Because DJs or producers were like, well, I'm only going to place it with someone who's going to give me a hit.
Right.
So, that whole energy was because you had, everyone had their own sounds back then. Tribe had their own sound. PE had their own sound. Yeah. I had my own sound, but the people I was rolling with, they wanted me to do nothing but club records, and I didn't want to do that. So when Warner Brothers got to the point where, I wrote a record just to get thrown off the label, and I did, and I wound up getting another deal later. But they wanted me to do, labels, A&Rs, no disrespect, but sorry, not sorry. They're very unidirectional. They don't really think outside the box, and there's no more artist development. So you're not going to get someone to come in and say, yo, this is great. Let's do this. Let's do this. That didn't happen. Most of my artist development happened before I got to making a record. And my buddy Dave Shore, who was the A&R at Warner Brothers, I didn't like him at the time, but we got to be really cool after the fact. Yeah. But he was a real A&R. He knew what he wanted. He knew how to get it out, and we did a good job. But I just didn't agree with the direction they wanted me to go in. So I just bowed out.
Yeah. Okay. So